You know, this is what every single last king needs to understand. As you can clearly see, I'm out. I'm in my 2017 Kia Sportage at Hofstra University. And, I was at the mall earlier, you feel me? I was just walking around. I got free time. And I'm a vegetarian, I'm a vegan. No sugar diet as well. And I had to go out and get something to eat. And then I just decided to walk around. And I was just looking at the people, just observing. And one of my sessions started, you feel me? One of my mental sessions, and I just started getting depressed and sad. And I'm here now, and I gotta spit. I gotta preach, bro. I gotta spread the philosophy. I gotta spread the gospel. You feel me? And I've been doing what I do for, like, at this point, like 1.5 years. 1.5 years now. You feel me? I've just been trained by existence itself. I've been going through something deep, I've been going through something deep. And one of my realizations is that life really is inherently meaningless. Like, it is inherently meaningless, life. And a lot of people, especially a lot of religious people, they're gonna come at me. I already know. But you gotta understand, I studied every single last religion. I did this a year ago. I studied every single last religion. And I understand the why. I understand man's why. I understand the why behind his vices, the why behind his religion, his his governments. I understand the why behind everything that man does. And it's really because life is inherently meaningless, and he has created his own meaning from the meaningless. And you got to understand, all religions have the same common core truth to them. And that same common core truth is man's battle against himself. That is the core truth of every single last religion, that every single religion and every single philosophy, all of them that I've studied, all of them had that same common truth. Everything boils down to man's battle against himself. The battle against self, the battle against his desire, his ego, his pride, is all his battle against himself. That's everything, bro. And if man truly conquered himself, we would have world peace. But that's that's the bone truth of everything. It's all his battle against himself. But he has been faced with a planet that inherently has no meaning. Inherently has no meaning. And he has created, like I said, meaning from the meaningless. That's why you get the vices. That's why you get the religions, the structure, the jobs, the order, because he wants to bring order to the chaos of meaninglessness. And I thought about something on the way here. What was it saying? We're the universe experiencing itself. So in a way, this is perhaps this is God. This is existence itself. All that is, whatever they call it, because this planet inherently lacks meaning. Maybe, and I don't know, it was a deep thought. I freaking forgot. But what they said, we're the universe experiencing itself. And the only truth, I said, is the only truth is the self-expression. But anyway, oh my God, I forgot the thought, bro. I forgot the thought. I need to get the thought back. I was just driving here, and I was like, oh damn, that freaking clips. Well, not clicks, that freaking clicks. You feel me? But all this is really it's just damn so depressing when you realize that, bro. When you realize the why behind, when you realize the why behind all of it, like, why do you want the kids, man? Why do you want the car? Why do you want the white picket fence? Why do you have that 9 to 5? What's it all really for, bro? And when you truly start to ask that, it all becomes so depressing. You all realize how a lot of this really is inherently meaningless, and when you realize that, like, honestly, I realized that, and it's just depressing, bro. I might be going through a little depressed episode ever since I realized that, bro. Cause really, what's the point of all of this? And that's why I asked myself so many times, you know, I talked to myself so many times. I'm like, I really don't care if I freaking die. Now, of course, I don't want nobody to kill me, but if I just didn't wake up, if I just so happen to die, I really don't care, because all of this really lacks meaning. You know, there is no meaning to any of this except the battle against self. You know, and that's a whole topic on another video. I did a deep dive into all of that. You know, apparently, you know, according to my sources, you know, all of this, and I say, you know, a lot. It's just the way I talk when I'm making these videos. But all of this is really so consciousness itself could grow, you know, because we're little fragments of consciousness. And when we die, you know, it's a whole freaking process, and we go back and we grow consciousness itself. And the larger consciousness is God, so we're basically growing God. That's a whole topic of another day. People be like, oh, you're freaking crazy for saying that, but all I freaking do is research. All I do is freaking read stuff. So I'm telling you right now, and from my own experience, I know a lot more than you. You know, you're probably just, you know, the thing of a lot of people is that challenges their worldview. That challenges their, you know, that basically challenges their egos, you feel me? You know, their identities. When you challenge, you know, when you give another belief that isn't theirs, that challenges really them. And that's why they get sort of offensive. That's why they get sort of offensive. And that's why, you know, they do what they do. You know, they start arguing and stuff like that. Because by challenging their belief, you're challenging them, you know. But all this really is inherently meaningless. It really freaking is. You got to understand it. It's a real depressing thought, but it's the truth. Like, this all really is inherently meaningless, you know. Like, really, what's the point? You know, I have kids. Yeah, that's a legacy, but like for what, bro? Like, really, what is the point of all of this? And I understand the why behind the hedonism, the why behind, you know, why I'm going to live fast and, you know, basically be a degenerate, you know, because those people understand that all this is inherently meaningless. And I can understand their point of view. I can really understand. I can understand the freaking degeneracy, the you know, I want to do drugs and stuff like that. And, you know, I can understand that, because, you know, it really is inherently meaningless. But I wouldn't do that, because why wouldn't I do that? Maybe that's something I need to ask myself. You know, I'm just a self-improvement type. I don't see any value in any of that except a quick dopamine fix. It doesn't really do anything for me long term. You know, having fun is nice though, but it's just the same, you know, with desires like that, the hedonism like that, it's just a never-ending unsatisfied cycle. And at the end, you're just left empty. So really, no matter how you really push it, you're really not doing anything at this point. You're really not doing anything. The only real path there is really the path of self-improvement, the path of transcending self, the path of moving past your own human condition. And since studying all philosophies and all religions, that's what really all of this is about. That's really what the meaning of life is. Transcending, moving past your own human condition. Life is inherently meaningless, but the real meaning is, the human condition is life is inherently meaningless, but really the truth behind that is to transcend the human condition itself, if you get what I'm saying. If you get what I'm saying. If you get my thought process, you probably don't. You know, this is just me being raw. You probably don't, but it's a lot to think about. But yeah, at the end of the day, all this really is inherently meaningless. The only real path that has any meaning is the path of self-improvement, the path to transcend yourself, to move past yourself. You know, and that's why I say love was my greatest self-improvement. Because really, you know, my relationships, you know, with the girls in the past and even current, you know, it reveals so much about me. You know, I learned so much about myself, and I become a better man through love. And that's why I say it's my greatest improvement. A lot of guys don't understand that, but it's really deep when you think about it. But anyway, that was me being raw. A lot to think about.